to the cloud. I'm never sure. Oh, and here comes Sarah.
Sorry.
Hello, Sarah.
Bonjour. There's some
Sorry about
friendly
that.
faces.
Oh,
We had the wrong
hiya.
one.
Bonjour.
So I think we should start, and I am recording it just so that we can kind of post this on future, on YouTube or something if other people have questions. So that's awesome. Just wanted to introduce, well, other than Maggie, everybody knows Angela and I knows everybody else. So I'm Kate Taylor, so half of Creative Adventures, who deliver these creativity retreats for non-artists in France. We have Angela, and we also have a few people who have joined our adventure in October. No, May. May. Sorry. Wow, in May. So they can share some of their
Okay.
experiences. We have Sara and Stephen from Manor and Maker. So this is an opportunity really to kind of ask any questions people have. And also we know that some of our travelers also had questions that they didn't feel were fully captured in the first Zoom call we did. So this is an opportunity. But I think first, maybe we can, Ange, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Angela. I'm the other half of Creative Adventures. So do these retreats with Kate in the Toronto area, like full day retreats as well as in France. And I'm an encaustic painter full time. I also help out not for profit organizing art shows, but love to do and share the practice of encaustic art as well as other artistic practices and creative adventures. So happy to be here and part of all of this.
Oh, I should say also I'm an abstract painter, so I do the abstract piece of it. And then we have Sara and Stephen. You want to talk a little bit about your lovely chateau that allows all of this stuff to actually happen in France?
Hey everyone. Just in case you hadn't guessed, I'm Sarah, that's Steve. And a few years ago, we decided to go on this crazy adventure and rocked up to a French chateau and said, this is delightful and we should bring some people together and do some fun things.
Yeah, so we're both creative people ourselves, but we love bringing geeky people who love have a passion for something together, so that they can sort of geek out together, and that's where this whole thing comes from.
And we love doing the hospitality side, bring people together with good food, sharing our little lovely corner of France and just sharing our lovely home.
Yeah.
And Pam, do you want to talk a bit about yourself or? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, Pam, you're on mute,
Pam,
I
you're
think.
on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that. I was coughing. I didn't think you guys needed to hear me cough. So I'm one of the people that joined in May, along with some other people on this call, and I'm just happy to be here to answer any questions and maybe add some advice on things that weren't covered off in my initial Zoom call, and like the travel visas and all the EES stuff that happened between the Zoom call and when we actually took off, I think. And just some things about, the food and packing and anything else that people may have questions on. It's very important for us women to know what we're expecting when we get there.
Absolutely. And we did have some surprises with the weather, but we did our best. Angela and Heather?
Good morning. I'm Heather Neal and
Angela Houston.
the two of us just attended the May phenomenal retreat. And we are also here to share any color to the adventure that you might want to have.
Yep. And Colleen.
Hi there, I'm Colleen. I was also in that May group, and it's so nice to see Heather, Angela, and Pam. And just like the others said, add anything that I can to the conversation.
Maggie, did you want to say anything about why you decided to join the call, or you want to just listen, or what you're comfortable with?
I'm just planning on coming next year in 2027 in September with my friend Christina, who's down at the bottom there.
Awesome. Okay, well, this is perfect because this is exactly what Pam did, and it was a great opportunity to get to know kind of some of those niggly details that aren't always covered off. So, as you guys know, we do the creative adventure in France. It is truly, truly for non-artists, and Angela and I started that because we ran into so many people at all these art shows we did that kind of said, "Oh, I'm just not creative and I can't create anything." And we thought, how unfortunate that you're not kind of tapped into that joy of play and creating that, that you had as kids. And that's also kind of the philosophy of Stephen and Sarah, which is why this kind of connection with staying at the chateau with the cordon bleu chefs, but also the whole philosophy of what we were trying to do, kind of really came to fruition. And, I think that, sorry. We stay in a gorgeous 16th century chateau, which kind of creates this whole atmosphere. The fact that it's kind of in the middle of nowhere is awesome because you don't have any distractions from all the other things. You really do turn off. And I think for women, it's a great opportunity to just kind of focus totally on yourself. Like, what do you want to do? How do you want to create? The awesome food is delivered, the wine is delivered, the rooms are perfect. You don't have those distractions. And it's a really, I think, a real gift that you can kind of give to yourself, which is kind of amazing. So
Yeah. So Kate says for women, but for women and men, right, Stephen?
yeah,
And we have had some men join us on our creative adventures, both in the GTA, but also specifically
that's
in
true. Yeah.
France. And it's hasn't been any challenges that way. I think like-minded people. That's why Kate and I started this as well, just to connect with people and to share our love of art. Yeah, I think that I've been asked so many times if I do lessons. I think encaustic is something that people don't know a lot about. So I've been asked so often to do that. And I don't really have a desire to do long, ongoing lessons, but doing these workshops and retreats really create a great opportunity to kind of share that passion and that love and kind of introduce you to a lot of different art forms and a lot of different creative activities that then can spark your interest and then you can carry on. So we use all artist grade materials. So I always think the tools and having the materials ready at hand is, I think, one of the biggest hurdles that people have. So having all of that on hand and being able to kind of just play and delve into it without having to do a lot of the pre-thinking and then having some instruction along the way, I think works out really, really well. And we have a lot of fun.
So one of the things too is a lot of times people have this perception of what they want to create, and they have this idea of attaining something that's, amazing at the end of this session. And we guarantee you, you will create stuff that you'll be surprised about. And the guests here can talk about that. But it's one of the reasons we only do 1 day sessions. It sort of changes the perception of what your expectations are when you have like a day of instruction and then you move on to something else the next day. It gives you a taste so you can kind of see if this is something you want to kind of continue. The groups are small, and the intention of that too is that because we are primarily dealing with non-artists, we want to make sure that people feel really supported. They have the instruction that they need. They have the support and the encouragement they need so that they don't get frustrated with trying something that's new and kind of often beyond their usual skill sets.
So why don't we jump in and ask some of our participants who've been at the Creative Adventure what their experience was like, kind of your thoughts leading into it, or if there's been any trepidation in regards to like coming on the actual retreat, and then what your experience was and how that kind of how you felt about that and how we introduced the different activities and stuff. Heather and Angela, I know you have some time constraints, so maybe you could like jump in first because I know you probably have to pop off at some point.
Okay. I would say that when we had our call prior to us coming, it was just to set the stage, get to know each other, etc. I thought that was a brilliant idea because it really helped put into context what I was going to get into. But one of the things that you said resonated so well with me when you said, don't worry if you have any preconceived notion of what you're going to be creating and what you're going to be doing, park it, because you're going to start with a clean slate. And that clicked for me so perfectly because I was terrified that I was going to be the only one that didn't have that skill set to walk into. And then it turned out I wasn't alone. Everybody felt the same way. So that gave me a lot of hope that this was going to be perfect for this non-artist and me.
That's probably the number one fear we have, is that people are going to show up and it was like, oh, I'm not really an artist, but really they are. And they're going to be there, oh my God, but we can say that's truly not the case, right?
How about you, Angela? What was your experience there?
There's really you guys really promoted a can-do attitude. You made us feel like we can do it. Like we followed your instructions, which, by the way, both of you were fabulous instructors. Like step by step, here's how you do it. also, what I really appreciated was both of you were very encouraging, very encouraging to every single one of us, made us feel like what we were doing and what we created was really good. And it made us all feel really proud of what we were doing. And so I can say that Heather was 100% hesitant about doing this. And then she came away. I mean, you guys that are on the call that were with us, she came away giving the whole experience a 15 out of 10 because she loved it that much and created stuff that she never thought she could do. And I think we all had that feeling that we've done something that we've never done before, and we learned something new, and we had fun doing it.
And you're carrying on some of that stuff, right?
Yes.
What's that?
We're carrying on some of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Like
sure.
the sketching.
You do.
The sketching. I'm doing sketching almost every day. And that was the one thing that I was very hesitant about doing, because I thought, I don't know if I can do this, but I am doing it like every single day, almost every single day. So I really appreciate all the lessons and the things that I learned there.
I also love the pace of the day. It was a full day, but it was very relaxing.
Yes.
It was easy to fulfill.
Yes.
So I love that we start off with a sketch and move into learning, and then doing in the afternoon, and you had the wine. And
yes. The wine helped. The wine did help to ease things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always say, if in doubt, have a glass of wine.
That's right.
That's a good motto.
9 o'clock is definitely important.
Can I adopt that one, please?
How about you,
Other
Pam?
beverages are available.
I think for me, my experience, also not an artist in any way, but wanted to play. But I came by myself, and everybody else in the chateau had come with a friend or a buddy. And I never once felt that I was alone. And I think that what is important for you, if you travel alone or even if you travel with a buddy, the minute that you arrive at the train station, not even at the chateau, at the train station in Tivier, you get picked up by Stephen or Sara, and you are then taken care of the entire week, everything like food, drink, camaraderie, instruction, transportation. Like there's just, you don't need to be nervous or worry about anything from the minute you arrive. And excuse me, I think that that's really important, especially as women when we travel. So if you can get yourself there, to that train station, not a worry after that.
Yeah.
Good one, Pam.
Agreed.
Good one.
Yeah. And also, because the number of people there is, I find, the perfect number. There is enough people there that and they make you sit in different places at dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you're always circulating with everybody. I actually started to forget who came with whom. And you just start to talk to everybody separately. And I never once felt that I was odd man out or odd woman out at all. And we have formed friendships. Like I was over at Heather's house and Angela was there yesterday. And, we still have our little WhatsApp group that we send each other our art disasters and successes.
All successes.
We haven't seen each other. So, I think that I wanted to go to find women of like-mindedness that I could become friends with. And I think I did that.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
How about you, Colleen?
So for me, I had experiences in art decades ago, and I just wanted to get back into it now that I'm retired. And my friend Julie, who we have similar interests, brought this experience up to me, and there was no hesitation. Yes, who wouldn't want to go to a chateau with chefs and get to do art projects? I mean, that was like the ultimate trip for me. And it lived up to every expectation that I had, because Stephen and Sara made us feel welcome from the beginning, from the get-go. And then of course, we have this delicious food that, I mean, it's amazing. Can't speak more highly of it. And then with Angela and Kate, the creative experience was so much fun because getting to try different medium, and as has been already said, totally supportive. No matter what I was doing, even if I was getting frustrated, somebody would come along and make a comment. I'm like, oh, suddenly a light bulb would go off. And so that's been, so that was so exciting. And as has been said, I have tried to continue my sketching, which has been fun. Yesterday, I was trying to sketch something that was kind of a complicated piece of furniture, and I was trying to get angles and this and that. And I thought, I'm not sure I would have done that if I hadn't gotten back into the idea of being creative. So it was totally awesome. Beautiful people. As Pam said, so much enjoyment getting to know the other people in this this week-long event. So it was tops for me.
It's quite amazing, isn't it, how quickly the friendships form when you're sort of all like-minded, you're all in one place, you don't have all those distractions. And I mean, it's one of the things also that, I think, Angela and I love too, is that, building this community of like-minded people. And after every adventure, like, that was so fun. Like, I can hardly wait to do it again,
I would recommend name tags though, because we are all of a certain age. And I think it took me until Thursday to really know who was who in terms of names. So we're old. Give us some name tags, at least for the first 2 days.
That would help. Okay. Yeah.
We can hang a note.
Take away his name tags would be helpful.
Maybe we paint our own name tags. And so that's the first experience.
It could be a creative project.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it could be a project. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
By the way, Kate and Angela, Penny says hi.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got
that's
a note
awesome.
from her yesterday. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, good.
She came on 2 of our first adventures. So yeah.
And she was supposed to come back to Creative Adventures, and she had a fall. So
yeah.
Sarah, is she there in France?
No, not today. No.
Sorry, Maggie, do you have a question?
Yes, actually, my friend Christina New has asked me to apologize. She's having trouble with her video and audio, so she is listening now.
Okay,
so
that's awesome.
But I was wondering if Toronto.
Toronto, okay.
I was wondering if you could address some of the questions that were that had been were in the email that you sent.
Mm-hmm.
About is this really for non-artists? What's the chateau like? What are the off-site adventures? That list of questions.
Sure. So I think you probably can kind of get that first one answered, that we really have had no artists on it. It's been, I mean, if you are an artist, you can come too, because it's unlikely that as an artist you will have touched all of those 5 different things, activities. Sara and Stephen, do you want to talk about kind of the chateau and what it's like and what the experience is being there?
What we like, one of the things that appealed to us about where the chateau is that you're seeing a really authentic corner of France. So yes, you have to go just a little bit further to get here, but you're in a very, very authentic corner. So you're getting to see the real France as opposed to just ticking some places off the list, which is, fine also. But we really enjoy exposing people to what happens here in our little corner. So we get to go out to markets and things like that. We enjoy sharing the French cuisine that this area is so famous for. But the chateau itself is a mix of 16th century and 19th century, and pretty much has always been a family home. So it's never been hotelified. So it's still very much, as the French would say, dans son jus, in its juices. Has a lot of original character to it. There's 5 bedrooms on the mezzanine floor, so everyone sort of has an equal overview. I can sort of tilt up and you can get an idea. You look way up, you can get an idea of our little mezzanine view.
Forgive the sheets hanging over the side of the
Yes, exactly.
We're in transition.
Yeah. And then we also have a big 16th century tower with a big stone staircase in it. And we have 15 hectares of grounds to wander through that are just a mix of woods and prairies. So you get, if you need a little nature moment, you've got that. But we're also just right on, kind of in on the town. The town's only about 500 people. So there's a little boulangerie next to us, a little church, a little school,
Restaurant.
a new restaurant, which is very exciting. But that's about it. It's a tiny little town, so we're private, but we're still connected to people, which was an important thing for Steve. He wanted to be able to either walk or bike to the boulangerie. So all the croissant first thing in the morning still come back warm a lot of the time,
Oh, good.
which is really nice. Did you have any sort of specific questions about the chateau setup?
I understand it's 25 steps up to the mezzanine.
The staircase.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A nice wide, broad staircase, but yes.
I can
And
show
then-
you.
Yes, does it have a handrail? Because I walk with a cane.
Yes, it does.
Very,
I'll show you.
and they're also
Okay.
shallow steps, like they're not really deep steps.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it
Looks
goes up,
fine
it's
to
curving,
me.
it's wide, it's carpeted. Yeah.
Okay.
And a
But
very
that's-
sturdy handrail. I think the other thing too that I think is really wonderful is that you really do feel like you're staying at a friend's home. Like it does have that feeling. I think, the guests can kind of talk to that too, but
Maybe Sarah and Stephen, you can just say a little bit about the region. Sometimes the questions I get often asked is like, where in France is it in relationship? So I relate it to, I guess, Paris and
Bordeaux.
Bordeaux,
Yeah.
right? So maybe you can just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the
Dordogne?
region that we're in is, sorry, did you want to jump in there, Maggie?
It's Dordogne. Is it Dordogne?
Yes.
Is that the region? Okay.
Dordogne. Yeah. So it's southwest France. I guess Bordeaux is our closest major city, but there's a lot to draw people here. So Dordogne is known for food, essentially, or one of the major reasons. It's what's known as the Périgord region. So duck, apples, foie gras,
Walnuts, truffles.
yeah, truffles.
Yeah.
Basically, this is where food comes from.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the chefs around France, they come to the Dordogne. But on top of that, there's a real plethora of historic places here, and it runs the gamut. I mean, you can do everything from prehistory. There's the caves of Lascaux, for example, which is 17,000-year-old cave paintings.
Which I'm going to digress just to say that is proof that all humans are creative. Like
That's it.
literally, this area, people have been drawing things on the wall for 17,000 years. So it's the perfect place to explore your creativity.
Absolutely. But then we have medieval towns like Sarlat, absolutely beautiful place to go. There's castles. It's known as the land of 1,001 castles. I believe there's only about 800 or so of them, but it's a very, very pretty part of the country. As far as weather goes, I will preface by, the last few days we've had a heat wave, but usually it's a very comfortable part of the country as well.
Lots of greenery, lots of rolling hills. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, you're spoiled for choice here. The transport routes are quite good depending on which way you're coming in. Obviously, we're able to pick up from train stations. Angoulême is the easiest one directly from Charles de Gaulle. That one we can pick up. It is an hour and a half drive, but it's a direct route straight out of the airport. Or from Bordeaux, you can easily come into Périgueux or Thiviers. Thiviers is our closest train station, and has links between Paris, Limoges, Bordeaux, all of those sort of
Brive,
things.
Toulouse, everything like that.
and we'll
sort of-
provide some of that
Wh-
information.
Yeah. Which airport do you fly into? Charles de Gaulle, or is there another one?
I mean, you could fly to Charles de Gaulle, but there is actually direct flight into Bordeaux via
Bordeaux.
Montreal. That
Okay.
one is Air Transat. The Air Canada doesn't do it, but Air Transat does that one. And from Bordeaux, it is 2-hour train ride, and you're here basically.
Yeah.
Um,
My mom finds that one quite comfortable.
mhm.
I think Heather and Angela,
Yeah.
you
Helps anyone if anyone knows my mother.
She was a flight attendant for many
Yes,
years, so she
yes,
comes
she was.
she comes with some expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. If I were to do the tour again, I would, and I want to, I would do Bordeaux instead of
Yes.
Paris. I would avoid
Yeah.
Paris at all costs. If
Yeah.
you're not
Correct.
planning on spending any time in Paris, I wouldn't go near it. Go to Bordeaux.
And
Yeah.
Bordeaux is beautiful. Like there's lots to see in Bordeaux too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was 2 train rides we had to switch trains
Yes.
from Paris. Yeah.
It was very more complicated than
Yes.
it needed to
Yes.
be, and with
Yes.
the heat wave, blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I flew
I'm going to
in.
do Bordeaux next time.
Next
I
time.
flew in from Amsterdam. So I flew in from Amsterdam and I flew out through Zurich. So I flew from Canada to Amsterdam. Well, actually, I went to the UK first for 3 days, but you can pick any sort of hub in Europe, and as long as it has a connector flight to Bordeaux. And I think out of all of us, I had the least amount of trouble because I did not go through Charles de Gaulle, Paris. So I agree with Heather and Angela. It was a heat wave. They were struggling, but the inter-Europe flights are relatively inexpensive. So my recommendation would be go to Frankfurt or Zurich or Amsterdam, spend a couple of days, get yourself acclimatized to the time zone in one of these lovely cities, and then get on a commuter flight from there straight into Bordeaux. And then you can go from Bordeaux, 2-hour train ride, and you're in, and then you don't have to
Through
worry
wine
about
country.
Yeah, Charles de Gaulle.
The other one, there are a few other regional airports around us. If you want to look into them, Limoges is probably the biggest. There's flights from London, for example, that come into Limoges. There's also Brive, and we can give you that details if you want. So those are more regional. They're definitely the sort of the short haul flights from other major centers in Europe, but there are a few options available there.
I think Pam also touched on an important point that it's really good if you can come someplace for a few days earlier so that you have time to kind of get over your jet lag. Because once the adventure starts, the days are pretty full and you'll get more out of it if you're not half asleep.
We've also had guests just fly into Bordeaux. So I think from Toronto, it's Toronto to Montreal. It's just a stop in Montreal, like that you don't actually board off the plane. Yeah, like I think just people enter on the, is that correct? And then I think you fly to Bordeaux. We've had people stay for a few days in Bordeaux and then come up to the chateau. But Colleen, what did you do when you traveled in?
Yes. So Julie and I came from the United States. So we flew from Chicago to Charles de Gaulle in Paris, but we spent a couple of days in Paris. Then we took the train from Paris down to Angoulême, and we rented a car and spent 4 or 5 days in Montignac, so we could see the Lascaux caves and some of the villages, Sarlat, as Stephen mentioned. We visited some of the smaller villages, and then we kept the car and ended up driving to the chateau. And that was, I think, from Montignac might have been an hour and a half, maybe. Yeah. And then when we had spent a week in France before, and we just enjoyed the countryside and visiting some of these other villages because we knew we would be concentrating our week at the chateau on the art. So we did our tourist things at the beginning, and then we drove back to Angoulême, returned the car, and then took the fast train back to Charles de Gaulle. And, you know, that's always who knows what you're going to get when you're there. But we happened to have stayed at a hotel that is actually in the airport. Looking out our room, you could see the airplanes are right below us. We're like, oh. So we literally walked a short distance to get to security in the airport the next day. But anyway.
That's one thing lots of options.
Yeah, I would give just a heads up. You're going next September, so they should have this EES, the European Electronic Entry system, done by next September. Let's hope you know. Mm-hmm. But if not, make sure that you're giving yourself time when you arrive in Europe to register your passport or through customs, and give yourself time when you are leaving Europe, because it seems to be quite 2-3 hour waits in some cases. For me, it was 10 minutes. I just got lucky. But, you know, I don't like to be rushed. So I always made sure I had a couple of hours, 3 hours once I crossed.
Yeah. So, Pam, do you want to talk about maybe your experiences with sort of the rooms and sharing of the rooms and the bathrooms and stuff? Because that's something you were kind of concerned with as well at the beginning.
Yeah, everybody that I've spoken to was like, "Did you have to share a bathroom?" Because I think if we're women of a certain age, we'll share a bathroom maybe with our friend, but we don't necessarily want to share a bathroom with strangers. And sometimes I don't even want to share a bathroom with my friend. So I was, as I said, single, and there are no single rooms in the chateau with its own toilet or shower, from what I understand. So I got a beautiful room, like manor room, and then I had share a bathroom with three women. So initially I got very like, oh my God, I've shared a bathroom. It really wasn't a big deal. First of all, we're all women, so we're clean, and you go in.
Okay.
We kind of said to each other, when do you want to? Sorry, Stephen. But and we just say on the first day, we're like, okay, who likes to shower when? And we just figured out when each of us wanted to shower. I never once had to wait because there was another bathroom toilet that I could use. So I never had to wait. The toilet was across the hall from my room for my 2 o'clock in the morning piece. I never had to wait for a shower. It really wasn't a big deal at all. And the blow dryer, and there's a mirror in my room. So as soon as I showered, I just bring yourself a little robe or a little house dress. And then I walked from the bathroom to my room and I did my primping and blow drying and makeuping in the privacy of my own room. So it really wasn't a big a deal as I thought it could be, is what I've been telling people.
Basically, the chateau is set up so that no more than two rooms share the toilet space or bathroom space. So there's one room that has an ensuite. There's two rooms that have ensuite showers and share a toilet room, and then two other rooms share a full bathroom, right?
So I
So
think
really, you're sharing with maximum one other room.
Yeah, so Pam was in the room where probably the room that had the least, right? Like, because they had two rooms that shared a full bathroom,
Full
right?
bath. Yeah, I didn't have anything
Some
of
of them
my own.
have a shower,
Yeah.
but not a
Yeah.
toilet, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it was fine. I'm telling you, and I'm very picky about my own space, and it was fine.
Colleen, you want to talk about kind of the rooms and what they were like? And
Yes. So I had a room to myself. I was on the corner. I actually even had a terrace. So I actually would go out at 4 a.m., step outside to look at the night sky so I could watch the stars. And the room that I was staying in had a shower, sink, and then I shared the water closet across the hallway. And beautifully decorated. Stephen and Sarah have done a lovely job of creating a beautiful room. And I mean, I was so comfortable. I mean, I was very happy to be in that room. And if I have a chance to come back, that's the room I want.
but we hope you will.
Duly noted. Yeah.
Okay, should we talk food? Because we have two awesome cordon bleu trained chefs that come and cook for us. And so Megan and Val create such a great atmosphere. They're also super creative in their food. We do manage food allergies and restrictions. They are so creative in doing that. But Pam and Colleen, you want to talk about whether or not you thought the food was okay?
Oh, just okay. Every dinner started with guess the butter. So that just tells you there was like a different whipped butter that began every meal. But I would say other than the fact that it was fantastic, I think that if you really don't like a particular food, like you don't like lamb, for example, or you don't like duck, not necessarily an allergy, but you really don't like it and you don't want to try, because often I ate things I wouldn't normally like and they were fantastic. But if you really have an aversion to something, tell them, because they will try and make you something else if you really hate something. But there was nothing. There was food I wouldn't normally eat, and it was still delicious. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. And like Pam said, foods that I don't usually have, I mean, I don't have exposure to escargot in the middle of the United States. I did in my experience there. So every night dinner was always a delight to see what was being presented, and it was beautifully presented. It was delicious, fun to try things that I don't normally get that opportunity to do. Breakfast, you always have these delicious bakery items. Who would love that, right? And then lunch was often a beautifully presented salad or sandwiches that were delicious. I mean, I could have just stayed in the dining room and maybe painted in the dining room and eaten all day. It was beautifully presented, delicious. I don't think there was anything that I wouldn't have taken seconds on.
And the desserts were amazing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's a woman after my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the profiteroles. They were my favorite.
Yes.
The chefs were super passionate about what they do. They love sharing their creativity, and you always get a little presentation of what they're doing. So they always go through a little explanation of what they've made and why it's important or why these things go together or what it represents. And it's really a nice little level up. And they're excellent, terrible singers, and they invite you to join in on that all the time.
Yeah. I also
Yeah,
love
the kitchen's open as well. They love having people come in and see what they're preparing. So you're very welcome into that. The other thing that the chefs love to do is when we go to market days, they'll do explanation, or when we usually go to a cheese vendor and they'll get samples for everybody, and talk a bit about the etiquette of going to a market in France as well. So they're very much interactive that way.
But mostly it's the cheese samples.
I will say it was very hard because we were told that we were not allowed to clear our dishes for some kind of health and safety reason. And I would say that it's not a health and safety reason. I think they're just spoiling us. But then I got home and nobody cleared my dishes. I was very upset about that. I got very used to not clearing up after myself.
I also love the fact too, I have to say that the meals are a good length. Like you're never rushed. It's an opportunity again to have such great conversations, and every part of it is really pleasurable.
Well, why don't we jump into that? Just talk a little bit about a typical day and then talk a little bit about our external excursions. So typically, we're at the chateau every day, and we start with breakfast. And I think for some people who like to rise really early in the morning, you can always walk the grounds and do some stuff. But typically, I think our breakfast is around 8 o'clock, right, Kate? Is that when we normally start? Yeah. So typically about 8 o'clock, and available probably like till 9 o'clock. We're often sitting down together, even during that period. But sometimes we did have some guests that came a little bit later this time. But like there's definitely chatting and kind of socializing even in the mornings. And then in the beginning, the very first few days or whatever, we'll kind of introduce the journal and the creativity activities and stuff like that. But every morning we really encourage people to take out their journals and do some creative journaling, so sketching in the morning. And then after that, we typically jump into whatever the art activity is of that day. There are some external or days that we're off site, but we usually jump into a bit of teaching in regards to what we're going to be doing. And you'll be able to touch that and play with that a little bit. And then we have our lunch, which Kate has talked a little bit about, that it's usually a good hour, right, that we set aside for lunch. And then in the afternoon, probably some more teaching on whatever the activity is that we're doing, and then progression into doing more of the pieces. So when we do the painting, for example, we'll often do like practice boards, like small boards or small palettes. And then we get into creating larger pieces, or maybe prepping our pieces even before lunch, but like doing maybe 2 pieces of the painting in the afternoon. But saying that, you're always welcome to take a break whenever you need. And then we'll have, sort of some wine before dinner, and then we have our nice dinner, and we occasionally have artist talks. Just sometimes there are external artists who are local to the region. Sometimes Angela and myself, or the chefs, or Stephen will talk about our kind of creative journey for people who aren't as experienced with that. So,
at the last retreat, we had the opportunity to go out to a vernissage, which is basically a little art gallery opening. In our village next door, the day that you guys were doing the watercolor, we went out to see someone's watercolor artist, a little show opening. So that was our artist talk for the evening, was a chance to go see a watercolor artist.
That was very cool.
Yeah. And I think the time before we actually went to a concert one night, right?
In one of
Because
the other chateaus.
yeah, because it was very close. So I think we tried to look at what's happening in the region as well to see what else we might be able to include. What maybe Pam or Colleen, you want to chat a little bit about how the progression of the day and how that actually felt like sort of what we were kind of doing like a typical day.
Sure. Colleen, do you want to go first?
Sure. We usually started, as they mentioned, with sketching in our journal, and I like that kind of a start. It's a nice way to kind of get started thinking about, oh, how my day is going to be. And I appreciated the explanation of how we were going to work on a particular project, or and then they sprinkled in some fun exercises, which were really delightful. The blind contour drawing, or we were switching out every few seconds, like sort of like musical chairs. You'd add something to the drawing, you move to the next drawing. And those were fun because it sort of loosens you up to the idea, oh, my piece is going to have to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, I won't do it. I won't be happy, because those exercises sort of loosen you up to the idea that art is a creative experience and is fluid. So I appreciated those sprinkling of those little exercises at various times. And then we worked, on our project, and the artists give us suggestions, but also our colleagues, our students, fellow students, provided encouragement to keep working on it. So I guess that's my comment, Pam.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of that is true. The days were full. I would say they were full, and you could work at your own pace. Once we kind of did our own little watercolor in the morning, which was fun. I'd never watercolored. Then the instruction, Kate and Angela were fantastic. I mean, it's like, herding wild cats, trying to get 9 women to listen to instructions, understand them, and then do it. There was all kinds of like questions and stuff. They were so patient with us all. And then we had the afternoon when we'd go and have lunch, and then we'd really have the afternoon to try our hand at whatever the art was that we were doing. And, some people were done by 3 and then went and did a little bit more watercoloring, or perhaps went and put their feet up. And other people worked right till 6 because they really got into what they were doing and wanted to do another one. So if you finished one and you wanted to do another one, they have all the supplies for you to try again. And sometimes that's good if you get frustrated with one. And then, then I would go up and have a shower and kind of just spend an hour to myself, and then come down and have, wine and dinner. And it was a full, busy day of relaxation, if that makes sense.
And do you want to talk a little bit about at the last night, we kind of have a vernissage where all of the artists present all of their work. And I think some people were pretty intimidated about that when we talked about it at the beginning of the week, but how did you feel kind of seeing all of the work that you produced for that week?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was very emotional about it. I don't know why. It was just sort of the culmination of the whole week, and just hearing from all the different women about how the week really resonated with them, and it also resonated in the same way with me. So I found it very, I didn't find it scary. I was a little, we'd all seen each other's art. It's not like we're all creating art in our own little cubicles. We'd all seen the full, scope of what it took for us to get to the point of either loving what we did or hating what we did. So there'd be some people like, I did this, and you all know I hated this piece, so we're not going to show this again. And so it was I didn't find it intimidating at all when it actually happened. If you'd have told, I didn't even know it was happening. I guess I missed that part of the agenda. Had I known about it at the beginning, I'd be like, oh no, this is gone. Oh no. But I was oblivious, so it worked for me.
I will say it's a common element through all of the creative adventures when we get to the vernissage. At some point in the vernissage, there's always a few happy tears,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It was good.
Yeah,
It was
it's a
good.
really lovely practice. I think for me especially, I really kind of enjoy seeing the whole story and what the week, what individuals are, able to produce in a whole week, and I guess how it really resonates with them. And I guess that's one of the reasons Pam was saying some things you loved and some things you didn't. Some things you're kind of done at 3 or 4, and sometimes you just want to keep going, keep going. Don't put it away. I want to keep creating. And I think that's the reason Kate and I do a different activity every day. So the idea is that like it's an introduction to it, so that you don't get bogged down. Like, who wants to do a retreat for a whole week on something and not love it? So the idea is that you can kind of try your hand at different activities, and we try to introduce it. We start with paper making, so you get your hands dirty literally right away, and then like progress into some of the final pieces. And the idea is that you are learning every day. What you do one day actually reflects in the things that you do throughout the week. And I don't know if you guys experience that or not, but we've tried to lay out the activities that we're doing so that there's somewhat of a progression, and try not to do too much teaching at one time so that it's not overwhelming, that you're taking too much in at one time. So I hope that's what you're able to get out of it. But that's how we try to address the actual week.
I think even if you're not seeing it, I think we definitely see like the more tightness at the beginning, and by the end, there's that looseness because you're comfortable with the materials, you're comfortable with play. And I think it's really cool too when you see all of the pieces together. You can say, oh, they've got kind of a certain look, like they're creating their own form of mark making or something that kind of is a bit more identifiable, which I think is also pretty cool. Did you have any questions at this point, Maggie? Sorry, I know we're doing a lot of talking. We're trying to cover off as much as possible, but
No, I'm listening, taking it all in. I think you've covered everything. Thank you.
I think the only thing we haven't really talked a little bit is about offsites. Our offsites
right.
change for different
Right.
different retreats, and I think the reason is because we try to look at what's actually happening in the region at the time of the adventure. So sometimes we don't know exactly what we're going to be doing offsite until closer to the actual dates. So like next fall, we won't know exactly what's happening. We don't know when the percants are happening, when like what's happening in different cities. But we've gone to quite a few different locations. We try to do a half day market. So usually the local market, either on the Thursday or the Saturday, depending on when people are coming in, depending on whether our adventure starts on a Tuesday or Thursday. So usually on the Thursday or the Saturday, it's a local market. So you kind of like vegetables and fruits. And that's when we go with the chefs, and we kind of experience buying cheese at a cheesemonger and trying different things, but you have time to just wander the market and hopefully sketch in the market. And I think then we usually have a day off somewhere where we do a full day excursion. Does anybody else want to talk a little bit about that?
I would say too, it's such a historically rich, like Stephen mentioned, area that, I mean, I think I personally love history, and so does Sarah. So we really love the fact that Eleanor of Aquitaine kind of was very influential in that area. Woo-woo! Very strong, powerful woman. I think she's a great role model for all of us. And so what I love too is that as we're doing the bus ride, often Sarah will give us a bit of a history of the area. So we try and really build that art, food, culture, full experience. So there's kind of a little bit of everything for everybody.
And to be totally commercial, they talk about a food and cheese market, but there are amazing stores in that little town, and there's amazing clothing and artisan stalls as well. So we all at the end of the day, as women do, what'd you buy? And we all had a little like fashion show thing. We even had somebody who bought a purse, and the woman came to the chateau after because they wanted a specific type, and she came and delivered it. So I would bring a couple of €100 in your pocket, cash, for you to be able to go and barter and, buy some fun things. Because I think that, it's not just fruit and vegetables and cheese is what I would say.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Good antiques too, depending on which town we're in. Well, so many choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best is still one of the people last October bought a chandelier, and Stephen had to help her take it all apart and package it, and she shipped it back to, I can't remember where she was from, somewhere in the US, but yeah, so she had this big chandelier she took home with her.
Yeah, we all bought something at that antique. at that antique
Yeah.
market. Like some of us bought jewelry, some of us bought books, nobody bought something as big as a chandelier, but we all bought some really fun things there.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Brocante is an open air antique market slash mostly antiques, right? You
Yeah.
would say, Sarah?
Yeah, sometimes it's basically a secondhand market, and it can be
Yeah.
antiques or it can be specialty items. Like maybe there's one vendor that specializes in glassware, and it might be a mix of older to newer glassware, but it'll be one stand that's all glassware or one stand that's all little the dinky cars. Is that still what we call them? I don't know if that's what we still call them, but dinky cars.
Matchbox.
Yeah, exactly. Or there might be, clothing, or there might be antiques, or there might be really fancy silverware,
Fabrics.
plates, fabrics. Old, if you love linens, oh man, it's a place to get French linen. Oh yeah, baby. Can you tell what I like? Uh,
And then the
yeah, so
shops, there'll
of
be
everything.
external shops in the same city that are open that are just like their regular beautiful shops. But I think so we try, if there's a Brocante in the area on one of our days, we try to use that. If there's one in a medieval town, we try to do that. But it's not always been the case, but most often we've been able to find one, I think.
Yeah. Tis the season.
Yeah. Just depends on what's happening that week. Are there any
Did we
other
forget anything?
questions?
Oh, packing. Let me give you a hint on packing.
Oh, yeah.
So first of all, some of us tried to pack in carry-on luggages, which was okay because it was May and it was a little warmer. September should be beautiful as well. That's key if you're connecting through cities, I would say. But really bring clothes that are older, so in case they get messy. But they do supply aprons, so a lot of my stuff didn't get very messy at all. And you can repeat, like your painting clothes can be the same painting clothes every single day. Nobody cares. And then we just changed for dinner and it was fairly relaxed. So you don't need a ton of ensembles, is what I would say. A couple of outfits to play and get messy in, and some outfits that can mix and match for dinner.
Yeah, I would agree.
And we have laundry on site, worst comes to worst. But yeah, just make sure you've got clothes that you can really relax and create in.
And
Would be the
shoes,
priority, I think.
good,
Yeah.
comfortable shoes, because a lot of the art you do standing up. If you need a seat, you can obviously take a seat, but some of it kind of needs to be looked at from the top down. So you may be up and down on your feet a bit. So lots of comfortable shoes.
And I think too, we do sort of encourage people to have clothes that they can get messy. And even though they often don't, it's really more of the attitude of, I don't want to have to worry about getting paint on my nice shirt or whatever. Like it's kind of, things get paint on them and someone spills wine all over you. Well, that's just the way it is. You just kind of go.
Yeah, we try to do as much to make you comfortable. And I would say also, depending, this was May, sometimes you want to bring clothing or things that you can layer. So put on a sweater, take off a sweater, or put on a I would say thin layers, maybe a scarf, a light jacket, just because if we're out and about sometimes in the evenings, or sometimes we just sit outside, it's kind of could get a little bit cool. But depending on, I would just say make sure you just check the weather apps before you leave. But I would say layers, because inside the chateau is usually chillier, like it's much cooler, different temperature. I would say for me in the September, October, I definitely need like a sweater or a shawl or something.
Yeah, I would agree.
We don't have air conditioning and we don't need it.
Yeah. And it's very unpredictable. Like we were there where we tried to do as many activities as possible outside. But in May, we did have that heat wave that kind of came through. So we actually had to move inside because it was too hot. The year before, we had just one day in October that we were doing paper making, which definitely has to be outside. That was a little chilly. So people just, threw a toque on and, we warmed up the water and we kind of did the activity, right? Like it was no problem at all. But it is good to have those layers.
And I would say just be vocal. If there's something you need to be more comfortable, we're happy to try to like source that or make you more comfortable, whether it's seating, standing, or whatever. Like I think that we just need to just help us help you. I would say just be vocal about what we can do to make it easier for you, or if you need if somebody needs extra assistance just in guidance with learning or repeating teaching or anything like that. Kate and I are always happy to help in any way we can, as our Sara and Stephen. If we need a fan in your room, please be vocal. Let us know so we can get that in for you. In the colder times, there's like heating pads on the bed. It's so comfortable to flip that on before you go to bed. It's a nice little toasty bed.
I love that.
We didn't need that
So
much
do
in
we.
May, but in October it's
Yeah.
nice.
Well, the first night in May, I had mine on, which was crazy because then at the end you're like, oh my goodness, it's so hot. But so I think we're at our hour. So if anybody has anything else they want to kind of contribute or questions,
Something
I'm
that
good.
we thank you so much, Colleen and Pam and Angela and Heather, who had to go, for joining us and kind of helping, I think, hopefully share some of the experiences. And Maggie, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. And thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thanks, everybody.
Looking
Thanks
forward
for
to seeing
again.
you.
Good to see
Bye-bye.
everybody.
See you
Good to see
soon.
you.
That'd be
nice to see
great.
you. Nice to see you, Colleen and Pam.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.